How many of you know the tax rate for all Americans in 1964?
They were $4.
The percentage. Marginal tax rate. No, it was, in fact, 37%.
Wow.
All Americans. And Ronald Reagan's A Time for Choosing speech addressed many of the problems that were going on in the nation during that time period. It addressed big government spending, it addressed the Vietnam War, and it addressed the prevalence of poverty in American cities. The speech by Ronald Reagan was given on behalf of Barry Goldwater's presidential campaign in 1964. And Ronald Reagan had no prior political experience, but he was chosen in the role because of his excellent rhetorical skills. So this is one of the main reasons that he was chosen, and the broadcast was actually on TV. So that the audience was all Americans who were eligible to vote, and it was delivered in October of 1964, 1 month before the election that year. I have been permitted to choose my own words and discuss my own ideas regarding the choice we face in the next few weeks. I believe that the issues confronting us cross party lines. Now, one side in this campaign has been telling us that the issues of this election are the maintenance of peace and prosperity. The line has been used, "We've never had it so good." But I have an uncomfortable feeling that this prosperity isn't something on which we can base our hopes for the future. No nation in history has ever survived a tax burden that reached 1/3 of its national income. Today, 37 cents out of every dollar goes to the tax collector's share, and yet our government continues to spend $17 million per day more than it takes in. We haven't balanced our budget in 28 of the last 34 years. We've raised our debt limit 3 times in the last 12 months. And now our national debt is 1.5 times bigger than the combined national debt of all the nations in the world. We have $15 billion of gold in our treasury, yet we don't own an ounce. Foreign dollar claims are $27.3 billion, and we've just announced that the dollar of 1939 will now purchase 45 cents in its total value. As for the peace we would preserve, I wonder who among us would like to approach the wife or mother whose husband or son has died in South Vietnam and ask them if they think this is a peace that should be maintained indefinitely. Do they mean peace, or do they mean they just want to be left in peace? There can be no real peace while one American is dying someplace in the world for the rest of us. We're at war with one of the most dangerous enemies that has ever faced mankind from its long ascent from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said, if we lose this war, and in doing so, lose this way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we know the freedoms that were intended for us by our founding forefathers. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government, or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan for ourselves. You and I are told increasingly that we must choose between left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down. Man's old age dream, the ultimate individual freedom, consistent with law and order, or down to the ant-heap of totalitarianism. And regardless of their sincerity, their humanitarian motives, those who would trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course. Meanwhile, back in the city, under urban renewal, the assault on freedom carries on. Private property rights are so diluted that the public interest is almost anything a few government planners decide it should be. In a program that takes from the needy and gives to the greedy, we see such spectacles as in Cleveland, Ohio, a $1.5 million factory completed just 3 years ago must be destroyed for what the government claims a more compatible use of the land. For 3 decades, we've sought to solve the problems of unemployment through government planning. And the more planners plan, the more plans fail, the more planners plan. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance. And this is the meaning of Barry Goldwater's peace through strength. Winston Churchill once said, "The destiny of man is not measured by material computations." When great forces are on the move and in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals. And he said there's something going on in time and in space, and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. We will keep in mind and remember that Barry Goldwater has faith in us. He has faith that you and I have the ability, the dignity, and the right to maintain our own destiny and determine our own freedom. Thank you.